Hey everybody, it's Mark again. I just completed my 2 automatic fishermen, my version of it anyway. I'll give you a quick overview. It's nothing real technical, and see what you think. Alright, well, it starts out pretty basic. This was super stupid cheap to make too. I got this scrap lumber out of our shop in the trash pile. We burn it, we use it for fires and little projects like this. Anyway, this is 2 1/4 inch oak by 3/4. This was some blocking that was 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. So this was free. My little trigger mechanism is a sign poster you stick in the ground and put a for sale sign. Home Depot, 99 cents. Can't beat it. I got 2 of them out of it. I actually could have got a third. This little rubber guide I got for the string, I'll show you how that works in a minute. That was, we had laying around the shop. Anything would work. A block of wood would have worked. So what I did was, and this here, my fishing rod holder is the only thing that was the biggest expense, and my new found friend off of eBay, he's a veteran, and he started a little business selling all this stuff, and he's the cheapest on eBay. I'm going to give him a little plug right here. And it was, I believe, $3.99 a piece, and that included shipping. You can't buy it that cheap in a store. Guy's an American vet. God bless him. Thank him for his service, everybody. We wouldn't have these wonderful rights that we do today if it wasn't for our veterans. So let's give that guy a call and buy some stuff from him. Anyhow, yeah, the rod, this Chinese rod, you can't include that in the expense. This is just something that I wanted to try to do because I saw a few, they sell a similar product like this called the Lockjaw, and it's like 50 bucks. That's ridiculous. And I believe I've come up with something that's just as effective, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. But again, I got a piece of wood. This piece of wood, this is just a stainless 1/4 inch bolt that was, I believe, 1 3/4 inches, because this is 1 1/4 inch. And I bent this wire around a 3/8 rod. And in here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is what I used. This is a part of it. I just used this for the trigger, because the first time I tried it with my hook right here, and it worked real good. It stuck right in my finger. Anyway, that is inside, whoopsie. That is inside this spring right here, and that gives me a little, the roller tension. And right now it's really loose, but I tightened down my bolt right here, and this compresses, and this makes it for a heavier bite. But I plan on going out for crappie this weekend, so I want a real light bite. But you can tighten that right down for pike if you wanted to. The dimensions are irrelevant. I just kind of laid it out and looked at the angle when I pulled the rod down, how it would look in the holder. So that's how I come up with that dimension. This is 24 inches long, the board, so that's a good basic start. And this, I believe, long point to heel is 4 inches. And this is cut at a 45. So anyway, I'm going to reposition the camera here, and I'm going to show you how this works here in a second. Alright, what I want to show you, I got 2 different trigger mechanisms on the end. One, I'm using the eyelet, and this one, I'm using an 1/8 inch zip tie that I put through the little 45 gusset on the top eyelet. That's just play around with different trigger speeds. Like I said, I'm using 2 different setups with minor variations in them to see which works better. Alright, so anyway, because I got this 1/8 inch eyelet through here, I'm going to use that on the hook of the trigger. And I'll zoom in a second, but and show you what it looks like. Alright, that's what that looks like. And like I said, I just went through the between the gusset and the eyelet itself. and then I can move this forward and back on here for a heavier bite or a lighter bite. All right, and again, just like the other one, it's going to go through the little groove that I cut there. If I can zoom this out, I got a really small shop area here. See if I can get you the whole picture of what happens. But it's the same principle as the eyelet on the trigger. It's just going to be a little bit easier to maneuver. Alrighty, so as the fish bites, ow, you pull that and slam it back in your finger. So that's pretty sensitive bite like I was talking about. For pike, I'm going to tighten this up and make this a little bit harder to set off. But those are the only differences between the this 1/8 inch zip tie. Okay, I didn't use the loop. I'm just going to use the eyelet. And again, don't put your face over this. And when you got a hook on there, trust me, I know, be careful handling this. If this slips loose, it'll pull this up and slam it in your finger. Now we're just going to take the trigger and shove it through the eyelet and bring it back farther than 90 degrees. We're going to set the line in there, in the groove that I made. And I'm just going to let the tension off. It's not that sensitive a trigger. I mean, I can if I want to bring this forward more. And that's it. Basically the same thing. This rod is a light action rod, and you can see it's already, you know, it'll conform to the face of this trigger, the angle of this trigger. So that's why I didn't put the 1/8 inch zip tie on that. Okay, now if I can not stick this in my finger, I will show you. I will hold onto the blade tightly, and as it pulls down, it changes the angle and pulls up the rod. This is going to be great for crappie because they do have a pretty soft mouth, but they're quick. So this little light action rod is going to be fantastic. I'll show you one more time. Stick it through. I'll see, I almost got it in my thumb again. I'm the kind of guy that takes 3 or 4 times before it learns that hook's sharp. All right, but past 90 degrees, make sure I have a good hook in the trigger. Set my line in the center of my block, and that's it. Fish comes by, and that's it. Now I've got full weight on that. That's why she didn't spring up, because I don't need it back in sticking in my finger. All right, I set this up in a little bit different configuration. I saw this also. This little Teflon washer thingy here, you can use a float bobber. I didn't have one laying around, so I'm just using this as an example. And what that's going to do is make slack in this line. And you can adjust this weight. You could put even a split shot, not a split shot, but like a drop shot sinker on there to make it heavier. So when the fish grabs it, if you want to give them a little bit of time, if they're finicky on that day, for whatever reason, they're not just running up and grabbing it. Anyway, as the fish grabs it, it starts to take that slack out and gives him time to keep going. And with very little resistance on there, the only thing I'm pulling is that. When it runs out of slack, that's when it sets the hook. So I just wanted to show you that little thing there too. A lot of different configurations, and that's just one of them. You can play around with angles. I drilled this in on, this isn't quite a 45, I believe this is a 40-degree angle. Depending on the length of your rod, you can play around with this angle to get a nice soft curve. You don't want it all loaded up at the tip. You want some backbone in here. Using the backbone, that's where your energy comes from. This is where your quickness comes from. So you want a balance of the two. Really easy to make. I'm telling you, the wood was free. I think both bolts were 50 cents at Home Depot. Another 99 cents for this. This I had laying around. You could use a wood block for this and just glue it on there. This is a little piece of rubber. And you can see I made a little groove in here that the line rides through. This one is a little bit more pronounced, and I'm playing around with 2 different setups, basically the same, but I'm going to go out this weekend and see how she works, and I will report on how many fish and how well they caught, what worked and what didn't. Oh, and again, this is a really neat feature right here of having this cutout and the bolt that goes through. As this squeezes tighter, this trigger will become harder, which is a really neat feature. Because on like a pike or something, they may come in and bump it first to see if it's alive, which is typical for them, and that may set it off. So if you hold this down tighter, screw this in tighter this way, it puts pressure on this spring in my Teflon washer. Oh, which was, the Teflon washers were 50 cents a piece. So I think I'm at, with the rod holders, I'm under $8 a piece on these. I've seen guys use PVC pipe cut at an angle. That would cheapen it up even more. I will add a cross brace across here, which will stabilize this back and forth. That's going to be nothing, no, just a piece of 1x with a bolt through the center, so you can twist it this way to store it and transport it. Anyhow, as I was saying, this adjustable trigger is going to be nice. I believe that's going to work for me. All right, so feel free to comment, and thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.